Hey friends, it's Glenn here from fakeshamp.net and Good Movie Monday, treating you to a special impromptu video with Super Marcey herself, Marcey Panandrea. Hey Marcey, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for dropping by. This is awesome.
I hope so.
I think so. Well, off to a good start.
Oh, totally.
For anyone watching, paying attention, earlier this week, Marcy and I came to blows on Twitter. I unwittingly stepped into what would be called a Twitter minefield. And it escalated pretty quickly, got out of control, as tends to happen on Twitter all the time. We're not really here to talk about that, but I thought, we're both here to chat, and I think this kind of clears things up for people who have any doubt that there's bad, blood between us or anything. There's no bad blood between us.
No, there's not. Look, basically, when you go on Twitter, it is a minefield, and anything said can and will be taken completely out of context. And everyone will get shitty at something, and we just both happen to cross those paths. And after we cooled down, you did message me and be like, look, let's just clear the air. And I'm like, you know what? That's cool. I'm not the person who has arguments, and I'm like, no. So
That's because we're adults, right?
It's questionable, but
well, our content would suggest otherwise.
Well, yeah, you mean we think, but
So winding back, you and I have known each other for many years, but this is the first time we've ever recorded anything together.
That is true, which I find weird, but I think along the way somewhere we just lost communication or contact, getting too, I don't know, wrapped up in life and work.
Nothing like a good scrap to bring it back together.
Yeah, pretty
much. So let's talk about you, if that's cool.
Oh, yeah, we can, if you like.
Well, first let's start with anyone that's watching this who is sort of from my side of the aisle that doesn't really know who you are. You are Super Marcey, and you have a famous name. Of course, your sister is Bruna Papandrea, who is like a massive Hollywood producer. I want to know, what's it like to sort of have that vicarious view into Hollywood?
That's a tough question. Yeah, when you have, I guess, a family member who is in a very high position, high job, it's very busy, it's very demanding, and they generally don't live in the same country as you. It's there's not a lot of communication here and there because obviously we're busy and time zones have been different. But obviously I hear about everything she's doing. I check out everything that she does. And, since the pandemic, COVID, whatever you want to call it, her and the family have relocated to Australia for a little bit. So I have actually been able to see my sister and the family a bit more. And the 2 films she had come out this year have been extremely successful in Australia. So it's been great for her. It's been great for Australian cinema, and it's good to kind of be a part of it. And I guess if it wasn't for these movies coming out, I probably still would have been 12 months on and not having been to a cinema. But I got to go to both premieres in Melbourne, which was lovely. It got me out of the house.
Yeah, well, that's good. And that's a great story too. She's come back just in time for these to sort of, hit in a big way.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Personally, I wasn't expecting the films to do as well as they did. I suppose more so that, specifically, Melbourne, it's been very weird because we've been locked down more than anyone else.
Yeah,
and
totally.
You just don't expect people are going to go to the movies, but people didn't want to stay home.
They were craving it in the end, though. We were locked down so much that no, you're right. We were locked down so much that we were just itching to get out, chomping at the bit.
Yeah, and it was really good to see, so much support and so many, well, not so many, but enough people at the premieres, and just, on social media, people just praising the movies and just seeing the box office go up. It's like, damn, this is good.
Yeah, totally.
But then It's
There's
crazy.
your work. Let's talk about your work. So you're the creative drive behind the Super Network.
Yeah.
How did that start? We were yakking a little bit before we recorded, but
Yeah.
tell me how that started.
Jeez, that's like such a loaded question. And unfortunately, I'm not as cool as my sister, but I try to be at least.
You're super Marcey. You're pretty cool.
Super. Yeah. Well, my new, I guess it's my new YouTube channel has a whole video about me discussing Supergirl, and hence I took my name Super Marcey from there.
I caught that. That was a good video.
Yeah. Thank you. But I guess the whole movie thing just seems to be in the family genes, I suppose.
Yep.
And I don't know. I just always been one who I guess is very opinionated. For better or worse, I don't know. And I guess just wanting to share my thoughts and feelings on movies and pop culture. So that's where I started with a small little blog. And then as time went on, it just developed and became supermarcey.com. And I just, one day I'm like, I'm rebranding as the Super Network because it wasn't just me anymore. I had other people who were contributing, and yeah, it's the Super podcast has been going on for like 12 years or something.
It's amazing.
And
Like, where does that time go?
I don't know. It's crazy to think I've done it this long because it feels like half that time maybe. And I mean, that's like the flagship podcast, but we've since like got many spin-off podcasts.
Well, I was going to say you're
you know,
the Super Network, and it's supermarcey.com for everybody that wants to go
yeah.
check it out. It's not dissimilar to our website, only I think it's a lot more prolific. You've got podcasts and reviews and interviews and all that sort of stuff. What do you find is the most sort of fulfilling of that stuff?
I think everything as a whole is just fun and fulfilling.
Oh, come on. That's a
It
cop-out.
is. No, it really is.
Like, you know, for a lot of people, it's what they're doing, you know, most recently is usually sort of the one that they're excited about. But is there one that you look more forward to when you're prepping?
Look,
or are they all your babies and you don't want to say?
Well, yeah, everything is like my baby. And as things have, I guess, just mostly due to health issues, because I have fibromyalgia, which is chronic pain, fatigue, all the really shit things that no one wants to have. It sort of got increasingly more difficult to sit down and write. So doing more audio visual stuff just made things slightly easier. Then we continue to branch out and do things. But I do miss writing my reviews, and I probably will get back to doing that. October's usually a lot of fun because everyone wants to do 31 days of horror and watch horror movies, and that's all I do anyway. And not last year, the year before, I actually completed my 31 days with reviews, so I was proud of that. Last year I fell off the wagon a little bit, but I made it to like 20 movies. But I always pick movies I haven't seen, and the fact that I watched some incredible movies last year made it worth it, even if I didn't finish it. But aside from that, it's just all the podcasts are so much fun.
Yeah, the podcasts are great. Like, that's obviously, like, I think for me where it's at the moment. You know, I just love getting on the mic every week and just talking, you know, shooting the shit with friends and, you know, having a good time.
Yeah.
And I particularly love, like, if there's something sort of, you know, particularly sort of showcasey coming up, you've got a guest or something, and your nerves have got you rattled. Like, to me, that's the best. You know, like, it's a horrible feeling, but it's also exhilarating.
It's always like that. Even if I'm talking to the same people over and over again, I'm still nervous. I still don't prepare a damn thing.
You can't be nervous now. You're looking pretty cash. You're pretty confident there.
Fake it till you make it.
Well, talking about your videos, I think I hope I get this name right. Is it Movies That Made Marcey that you do?
Movies that make Marcey? Yeah.
Make Marcey, okay. They're fun. Is that new?
Yes, I just decided to do it one day. And, you know, because with who I run everything with, Bede, we were like, we need to kind of expand. Let's try YouTube and we're sort of just putting like podcast previews, adding whole podcasts on there. But it's like, you know what, we should go back to doing like videos. We used to kind of do that back years ago, and I'm like, I might just try my own series, and I'm going to examine movies that really had some kind of impact on my life. So that's quite new. I think I've done 4, maybe.
I reckon there might be a couple more.
I don't know.
But I do see them pop up on Twitter and YouTube, and they're fun. They're good, and you've sort of got a nice little niche there, because it kind of does represent what your whole Super Marcey network, Super Network, is all about.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think even for me, it's like therapeutic going back over movies that had an impact. And even as I'm like recording, because I don't write a script, I just do it on the fly. I can't focus on a script if I'm doing something. And I just end up, maybe realizing or learning more about myself in a way, which is kind of weird and funny. But, as I'm just waffling on, it's like, oh, wow, that was actually a thing. Cool.
I think you and I come from like the same generation where like we're kind of the first generation to sort of look back on the movies from our childhood in a really obsessive sort of pop culturally kind of way, like, I mean, I'm surrounded by posters from movies when I was young, and like, that's the difference, right now, is that we're in that cool position where we're sort of old enough to still be a bit cool, but but not the other way around, where, we just don't care. So it's a good time. It's a good time to be a podcaster.
It is, and it's a lot of fun. And honestly, I can't believe I've been doing it for this long. It boggles my mind. I started podcasting when it wasn't really a big thing. There wasn't like your pick of podcasts. And now it's like every second person has a podcast, and it's great. But you can kind of get lost in the shuffle a bit. So we try to keep like what we do a little bit different. So I hope we stand out.
Well, one thing you do differently is your tweetathons. What the hell are they? Tell us about those.
Thankfully, that's not me.
Is that not you? But that's on the Super Network, yeah?
It is. That is cool. Something that Bede does. He, he's been doing it for years. I think I actually started the trend of, I mean, at least on the website, people were obviously doing this before me. But I made it cool. Like, I would just sit and tweet, like, as I was watching something, and Bede was like, that's such a good idea. I might do that. And he just started like every month, I think. There's a poll on the website, which bad movie, whether you think it's bad or not, it's up to anyone. Which bad movie should we torture him with for this month? And he's been doing that for several years, and God knows he's watched a lot of trashy shit.
Yes, but that's awesome. They're grouse.
Yeah. Yeah. I pretty much like torturing people with bad movies, because I vote on our poll and I try to pick the worst one.
Excellent.
Yes.
I've thrown my my suggestions in a few times in the past, that's for sure. But one thing you guys are doing that we are trying to do, haven't quite done yet, is your Patreon. How's that go? Like, how is Patreon? Like, how do you find it? Because we are jumping into that beast of a thing later this year.
Go for gold. It is so hard to. There's a lot of stuff you just probably don't even know. We've had it for over a year, and slowly but surely it's growing a little bit. A lot of other sort of similar podcasts have about the same amount that we do. So that's, promising. But it is so hard. You have to know the ins and outs of how it all works. You have tier levels. You got to kind of be like, all right, what price do I want to put for this? What awesome stuff can we reward people with? And then it's remembering all the little things and all right, this post is for this tier and this is early access. It gets confusing.
This is what we promised you.
Yeah. But,
yeah, well, that's the reason that we haven't done it yet, is because we want to really make sure we've done our research and got it all. Like, it is set up, we just haven't launched it, and making sure that we're doing it right and that we can actually deliver on the promise.
Yeah, I think the easiest way, at least for me, it's keep it simple, but have some really good perks that you know are gonna not be forgotten about. So we've kind of just sort of like exclusive things that we can do. So on occasion, we will actually video record one of our podcasts, and the video is just for Patreon, whereas the audio is for everywhere else.
Yep.
And we've done some video commentaries. We picked some very random episodes of TV shows, and that was a lot of fun. We decided to talk about a very particular episode of Captain Planet. Don't know how much I could say about that one. It's a very weird episode.
Okay, is that for Patreons?
That was for Patreon, yeah.
Yeah, so they must to find out. Just become a Patreon.
Yeah, pretty much. And for one of our spin-off podcasts, the To Be Tuesdays podcast, we've done it once. We're gonna obviously do it again. Every few episodes, we're gonna put a poll up on Patreon so people can pick what To Be movie we will watch. Excellent. And the one that won our first one was Kindergarten Ninja, and I was not disappointed by everyone voting for it.
This is fantastic. So we used to do a thing called the FakeChamp.net Movie Club, and we'd have our our people choose stuff. Yeah, we had our people choose stuff, and they'd pick stuff like Karate Dog and deliberately kind of sabotage it. But that's what made it fun.
Yeah, and I think purposely, because To Be is To Be, we have watched a lot of weird shit, and even just having this podcast, which is relatively new in our arsenal, it was literally just doing like one of our this was like before we decided to do fan voted monthly commentaries. We decided, for whatever reason, I think it was on a poll ages ago and we just kept forgetting to do it. We did Howard the Duck and invited I know, right? We invited one of our good like podcasting friends on to do the commentary. They were very keen. And after that just led to this whole rabbit hole of Tubi. And we're like, oh my God, let's just do this podcast. So it was pretty much born from that. And there are some amazing things on Tubi. It is a free streaming service. Like, everyone needs that app somewhere.
I agree. I pillaged the Kung Fu section a few weeks ago.
Oh my God, it is amazing. I don't even think I could complain about anything we've watched.
No, you can't. You're not paying for it.
And there's been several movies where it's been my first time watching it, and all my initial reactions are there on the podcast. I would specifically recommend the one where we watched The Peanut Butter Solution.
I've got it on Blu-ray. It's such a good film.
I had no idea what I was watching. I've become obsessed with that movie now.
It's like it's one of like 25 installments of the Tales for All series from Canada.
I know,
like
right? I found this out. I found this out, and I was stunned that this was a thing. I'm like, so this is a beloved kids classic in Canada?
I know. I saw it here because the video stores had it on VHS, and we had like, a really weird cover that didn't even relate to the movie, but
I don't remember ever hearing about this movie until Bede brought it up to me, and he's like, oh, it's going to be one of my picks for Tubi. And I'm like, oh God, it's going to be so bad, isn't it? And I'm sitting there going, why is this movie so watchable in the weirdest way?
Because, and particularly for kids, it just appeals to their sense of, silliness, a solution that makes your hair grow, and naturally a kid puts it on his nuts. Like, hilarious.
That was the best. That character Connie is the best. By the end of like watching that movie, doing our podcast, we're like, my man, I love that guy.
If there's one thing for people to take away from this, it is watch Peanut Butter Solution.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And the sort of early into like our commentary, we didn't actually realize the dad was played by Michael Hogan. And I'm like, I've met him. I've interviewed him. Oh my God. I know someone from this movie.
A lot of those Tales for All were directed by an Aussie director from Melbourne. I can't remember his name, but he did the Tommy Tricker movies. I know.
Well, the mum is off in Australia in that movie.
Yes.
I distinctly remember that, and I have seen it since we recorded the podcast.
I'm so glad that came up.
I know, it's very random, but that's what Tubi Tuesdays is all about. It's the weirdness of Tubi.
Awesome. Before I let you go, I've got 2 random questions I want to throw at you. We have a show coming up where we're going to talk about the last movies we purchased. What's the last one you can recall buying? Actually buying and not watching for free.
What did I last buy?
Because when this subject was put to me, I couldn't remember either.
Actually, I got gifted quite a few. Well, I say quite a few, wasn't that much, but my birthday's in October and then Christmas, so I got given stuff, but I did actually buy something. It was I don't have it here, so I can't show you. I don't know where it is, but I got the 5-movie pack of Phantasm.
Oh, amazing!
Because it was in stock on Zavi, I believe.
That's a collection right there.
Yeah, and I haven't opened it yet, but I'm very much excited because I have not seen the 5th movie either.
Oh, just binge it. Yep.
Yeah, I love the Phantasm movie, so that was like I need it in my collection.
Yes, absolutely. I need to get that one. I've only got the old the Sphere one with all the 4 DVDs. I need to get.
Yeah. But one. I think one of my like Christmas presents, I actually have it right here, was the Arrow release of 12 Monkeys.
Oh, beautiful.
So
that is a good thing.
Very
last question for you. What is one of your earliest movie memories?
Earliest movie memories? I guess that goes hand in hand with my YouTube series in a way.
Supergirl?
Supergirl was definitely one of them, but I think the movie I kind of remember seeing, like maybe it was the first movie I saw at the movies, was The Little Mermaid.
Oh, that's awesome.
So kind of a bit biased towards that, but I have very early memories of watching like the not old, but original Star Wars trilogy taped off off the TV on VHS.
How good are those memories watching movies taped off the TV? Sometimes you
there were ads.
You cut the commercials out, or you leave them in.
Yeah, usually by like the halfway point, the commercials are in because someone forgot.
Yeah. Or you get like just that little snippet of something else that was previously recorded on the tape.
And then it's like those memories are like nostalgic. It's like, I want to watch those ads again.
We can just YouTube them now.
Oh, I hope so.
Well,
I need to relive those memories.
This has been so much fun. Thank you for
Thank you
agreeing to come and have this conversation. It's been great. Maybe we need to get you on the show at some point in the future because, the more the merrier at the desk, for a yak.
Yeah, well, I'm always available.
Awesome. Everyone should go visit supermarcey.com. They can find all of the things we're talking about. There's links to everything they do. It's always relevant and it's always fresh. That's what's impressive about it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Have a great night.
I will do my best. Thank you very much.